Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 272 of Forever Exiled, and we're here. It's like Christmas. Christmas is our Christmas episode.
It is. We're not doing anything special for you for Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everyone.
I'm gonna make it. So I'm gonna put out the picture though. We have a piece of art made for us every year for patrons, which also thank you to our patrons. Thank you to Philip for signing up this week. You rock. And everybody else who resubbed up this week to our Patreon. It's our Access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast, where it's more of us talking and things. But yeah, every if you want, I don't know if you want to join it, you should. And its information is on the website and on our, I don't know where else it is. Probably on this episode. I think we linked them.
There's probably like no information anywhere.
Yeah,
we're just used to saying it.
But thank you to everybody who subs up. But yeah, we have a little piece of art made every year and sent out to our patrons. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Or whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. But this is the week for us for Christmas. So it's going to be a busy week.
Joyeux Noel.
Ooh.
I love my mom's big into that, where you say, because we're about as far away, without going north and west, we're about as far away from Quebec, this French-speaking part of our country, than any other part of the country. Still, French is everywhere. It's on all of our products and everything. But my mom likes to read the French side of things, but as English as possible.
Super English. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's something that I've always giggled at and I enjoy doing myself. So Joyeux Noel, everybody.
Yep.
And don't forget about our Discord.
Oh, yeah.
It's
You got to
awesome.
be on our Discord.
Amazing people
Discord
there.
has gotten very busy, which is amazing. It is the place that we regularly communicate. So if that's where you want to leave us feedback, do it on there.
Positive feedback, negative feedback. It's a great place to make
at least we can have a
fun of people.
discussion on Discord.
No, it is. It is a great place to share your opinions and not getting crap for it. You're going to get people that disagree with you no matter where you go, but it's a lot of fun.
Let's have a discussion about it, though. Let's have a discussion.
You and me. No, but it is actually a lot of fun. Justin and I enjoy it. It's not a chore for us to be a part.
No, it's fun.
It's a very fun part of our day to be a part of the community that we have here.
And
so thank you for everyone that's there.
Global 2121 in game. We talk a lot in there. So if you're looking for a place to hang out with like-minded individuals, those are the two places that we hang out, and our community hangs out, and the community is amazing. Really, really can't say enough good things about them. Except Soja. Ugh.
Gross.
Oh, Ty's writing a note. Oh, I should open up Notepad for any notes. I got to write. I'm going to type too. If you're going to type, I want to type.
Enhance.
We have no backup running this week because our my roadcaster decided to do an update and now no longer reads cards, and that would have been awful last week
with BK.
So BK joined us for After Dark, which is amazing, but couldn't make it for the main episode. But we had Discord just in Canada just was like, nah, not here anymore. And the backup is our saving grace in times like that, especially with people joining us. So no backup. So
no backup.
Maybe not Merry Christmas. Maybe people never hear this.
ever. Just us, buds.
Just us.
That's how we like to do it anyway, right? Oh, and
you're listening to a conversation between. No, I'm going to get to it right now. You're listening to a conversation between two buddies who meet up once a week. I had a thought about this actually. We meet up once a week and we just talk. We talk about our life. We talk about our favorite game, and the comments that are like, it's 15 minutes and no PoE. Yeah, that's a conversation. You are
between two buds.
You're a fly on the wall between two buddies talking, and we use this time to catch up, and we enjoy it. And otherwise, this podcast would not be at 272 episodes. And also, just like a huge shout out, we don't often talk about this stuff, but through going through some of the stuff this week, finding out that we're in the top 2.5% in the world, like that's awesome. It's crazy that it's just two idiots talking with each other. And everybody loves listening. So a huge thank you to those. And then there's the odd comments. I didn't see some. There's places people can leave comments that I didn't even know. And 99% of them are positive, but the funny ones always make me laugh about, especially that. I was like, you can't have listened to 270 episodes and just figured out that we don't talk about PoE right off the bat. But also, I was going to say, we Tyler and I talked this week, and when we do meet once a week, it's always going to be based on how's our current day going, how's this week been. That's always going to shift and adjust how we talk to each other. And Path of Exile is actually exactly the same, because thank God I took notes through the week, because otherwise my comments about Path of Exile this week would be awful. I had the worst experience playing last night, and if I just went into this and couldn't remember anything else, I'd be F this and F that.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
It's good to have those buffer days. But yeah, also the current state of Path of Exile, and for us anyway, because Justin and I have kind of put Path of Exile 1 on the back burner, is we're playing an early access game. And early access game, especially in GGG land where it's more like a beta, it's like, hey, here's our game in its state. We need you to tell us everything that's wrong with it.
Or positive.
So that it's not beta, sure.
Right.
But there are going to be so many of these things that, you know, in our opinion, need to be fixed, or what we hope the game turns into. So as you listen to these podcasts and other podcasts too, just keep in mind, like, whether you agree with the podcast hosts or not, we're all fans of the game. We're all hoping for a good outcome. So whether it is that, however that path is, and we agree on how we get there, as long as at the end of the day, we're all hoping for the game to be good at the end of the day. So, you know, and hopefully you enjoy your listens, whoever you choose to listen to. I wanted to... Go ahead.
You want to what?
Well, I want to shout out GGG. We were talking about Merry Christmas. And again, Merry Christmas, or whatever it is that you celebrate throughout the holiday season. Merry family time. Mm-hmm. But I want to shout GGG out because they have the biggest release of their company's career, so to speak. And it's in a pretty good state. But I mean, you can see, like, every patch, it's like fix 6 more crashes.
So many things.
Fix more. Yeah, like it's not as stable as they would like it to be going into the Christmas break, but they made a post basically specifically to emphasize our staff deserve time off for Christmas. We're giving them time off 100%. For Christmas. It doesn't matter the state of the game. 'Tis the season, and like, this is just a game. They're real people. You know what I mean? So yeah, totally. Awesome. I love, despite how, you know, I kind of get the impression that the company's just like, oh, it always feels like something's burning. You know what I mean? That they do put their staff first in everything that they do. And everybody that we've spoken to at the company seems to absolutely love what they do and love working there. So I just wanted to shout GGG out, because there's always that aspect of corporate pressure. Like, you look at a company like CD Projekt Red, people could, I mean, we don't speak to anybody that works there, but you would have nothing but great things to say about that company and the quality that they would put out with the Witcher games. And then they kind of fell to the pressure, the corporate and investor pressure, when, what was the game that they put out? You really liked it eventually. GGG even like switched their release schedule for the first time in forever.
It's called Cyberpunk.
Yes, Cyberpunk. And then, of course, you know, they completely changed their philosophies, I guess you could say, corporate philosophies, and how they treat their staff for that release. And because it was, you know, the biggest release, and they kind of, you know, I guess they got distracted with the principles. And point is, I'm proud of GGG not going down that road when this is the biggest release ever. And they're just like, you screw it. 2 weeks off, Skeleton Crew.
You couldn't find a better way to thank them for all the work they've put into it so far. So I agree with you. I put your staff first, and what comes afterwards in the new year gets even better. So I agree with you. And big congratulations to a couple of people there. Just if you hear this.
And anyway, also, just we'll get into PoE talk pretty quick, but thank you as well for all the personal messages that you've sent Justin and I, and for the well wishes. We appreciate it. We see them, and wish them all the same to you, whether you send them or not. Thank you very much. We appreciate your thoughtfulness.
How's your week, Ty?
It's been a good week. Oliver was able to go back to school this week, so thank you for the well wishes in that regard as well, community. I appreciate it. So he got over his pneumonia. It ended up being that walking pneumonia that my mom was giving me that Ukrainian finger for, like, you watch out, you keep your kids safe because walking pneumonia is going around. She does. Mm-hmm. She looks at the clouds and she can tell what day somebody's going to get sick. And so she called it. And apparently it's just been going around like crazy. And so he went on a bout of amoxicillin, and it didn't kick it, which is, I guess, what would typically kick the typical type of pneumonia. So then he went on a different one. I forget what it's called. And so that cleared it up pretty quick, and he's been going to school. But now my daughter has missed all week.
Dang. Can't win.
And right now it's just a cough. And she's the one that's always been susceptible to pneumonia. But like her cough's been getting worse and worse and worse. It's now kind of getting to that like gargly stage. So it's kind of like, okay, so we took her to the doctor. She doesn't have a fever yet. They couldn't hear pneumonia. And I'm like, crap. But I asked for the 2-stage antibiotics anyways, where it's like, can you just give us the prescription for amoxicillin and then whatever the second thing is, because Christmas is coming. Like, just it's going to be impossible to get an appointment and to have to do like the emergency room. Oof. So where we live, people, the medical system's free, almost all of it. And so, but as a result, when doctors aren't available, people go to the emergency room at the hospital for very minor things as well. I mean, granted, it's not like not
some
everybody
of them
knows
are
everything
stupid.
about medical.
Some of them are
yes,
stupid.
Of course, some of them are, but then some of them you think it's serious, but then it ends up being nothing. But because
mine is always more serious.
That's right.
It's everybody's
but because we don't
there.
pay for it, there's always a much larger lineup. And so when we go to the emergency room at the hospital, you expect as a parent to stay there for the whole day.
Yeah, it's going to be.
You're kind of self-motivated to want to know how to do stitches just on your own,
totally,
just so you don't have to deal with it. Yeah, that's right. Suck it up, kid.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Violet's been going through that. So we have that actually, and the doctor was fine with that, which was great because of her history. So that was nice. But Violet, my daughter's missed all week of school, and this is the last week before where we live. Kids get 2 weeks off of school. But it's the fun week. Like she missed going to the rec center and going to swim. She missed her band performance, and she's never been in band before. Dang. So she was really crushed about that. Today she's home from school and she's wearing her band outfit that she was supposed to wear last night. All her glittery shoes and her uniform.
Dang.
Yeah, she's playing Skylanders right now in her band uniform. And so it's been tough because it's grade 6 was her first year of middle school, and there's a lot of really cool firsts she was excited for. She's the kind of person where she's excited about new things, not nervous, and is happy to skip them like my son.
Yeah.
But she's also the type of student that she's still in like a big daydreaming phase. And so like getting proficient per se on her schoolwork does take a lot of focus and effort. And she's the kind of person where she'll bring her homework home, she'll do the page, and then the next day she brings it home because she didn't even bother flipping the page over and realizing that the assignment was double-sided. So missing a week of school is a lot for her because of all that schoolwork. So I've never had so much homework in my life since my daughter's been in grade 6. A little bit is because her teacher does seem to be quite very disorganized. But then you couple that with my daughter, who's a daydreamer and doesn't remember what she's handed in or to which teacher. And then she's missing all the schoolwork. So this week I was just like, Violet, I'm getting all your schoolwork from your teacher.
There kind of been that much she missed schoolwork wise, right? Though, like they don't do much.
We went through a little parent thing where there was a little bit of lying about if assignments were done or not because she was tired of all the homework. And it's new for her, but still unacceptable. And we talk about lies are never just about what it's actually about. It's from a deeper source, right? And you try and call that as quick as you can. But so anyway, there was a lot. So this week, all I did was homework with my daughter. I didn't do it for her. I just taught her how to do it. And remember that clip? Remember when Christina went overseas? What is it overseas when it's South America?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, out of the country. When Christina was gone, you felt like Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles 2, and I sent you that clip about like he's all exhausted and he's walking to Edna and he's like, and they changed math again, and I went out and we needed double A's, so I went out and I bought some triple A's, so we still need double A's. So that comment about, and they changed math, they totally changed math.
Oh, math is completely different.
How you add
bigger numbers? Oh, it's crazy.
How you add double digits? It's not. No, so they're doing like, I forget what kind of fractions it's called, but once they're getting into, but it's so expanded and crazy. And I did it the old way that we learned. It's like 3 steps. Every question was right, and I'm like, what's wrong with this? My poor daughter's got like 10 minutes a question.
I taught both my boys to do it my way. I was like, listen, your teacher might teach you this, but watch this. Watch this.
Yeah, that's right. Can you see this magic trick?
Yeah. So I know the pain.
Yeah. So then my wife ended up getting super sick as well, but she's having to force herself to go to work
Damn.
because of her responsibilities and what she's doing.
Adulting.
There isn't anyone else that can do it for now. So she's at work, but
hopefully everybody's
sick.
good for Christmas. Hopefully they get over it before then.
Yeah, hopefully the timing's good. I don't think Aaron will be. But then just today, I was feeling all proud of myself.
Oh, no,
like,
are you
everybody's sick. A little bit. I was coughing a little bit earlier, and I'm like, oh no. So
I just realized now I don't actually have a
lozenge.
timer besides opening up Audition, I guess, to see what time we're at when you cough. So just don't cough, please. Don't cough.
I promise I will never cough.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, so yeah, it's going through, and my in-laws arrived this week too. So hopefully we don't get them sick because I like to joke around that the last pets they had were dinosaurs. They're the kind of people where it's fun to joke around about age stuff because it half hurts and half doesn't.
Yeah. So also though, if you come to visit somebody's house and they have kids, you should just accept that you're coming to get sick.
You're gonna get.
You're
sick,
leaving with something.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been a great week. It's been a different week. I am ready for a break as well from schoolwork. So I handed that in this morning. Violet stayed home. I walked it over to the middle school and I threw it at them and I walked away with my middle fingers in the air. It was great. I showed those kids what's what.
Why didn't you just have
like
her
me
hand
when
it
you
in
grow up?
after she gets back? She would have been fine.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it would have been.
Screw that. Pending things? No way. Get it in. Turn it in.
Yeah. Meh.
Yeah. So how about you, man? How was your week?
It was good. It was a typical busy week. I had my big speaking thing on Monday, so that was interesting. And then
oh yeah. Were you like keynote?
No, thankfully I don't know what you would call me, but it was fun. It was fine. I got some like news 10 minutes before we started about my mom. And I mean, thankfully she's fine, but God, good. Mom, pick a better time. But but actually it's more my brother, but I got some news like 10 minutes before we started. So I was like a little distracted, but it went fine. And then the week was just busy, man. I don't know why that's partly my fault. We're coming out with some new stuff in our offices. So had some meetings this week for that, but you know what? Overall, it was pretty good. We watched the Die Hards because we're, every year Christina and I watch the Die Hard up to 4 at the Christmas time, just because they are Christmas movies. Don't care what anybody says. And just hung out. Kids are off school after today. This is the end of it for them. So trying to get into a chilled Christmas time thing, but it's still going to be busy. So it's good though. Played a lot of Path of Exile, which was nice. And working through that. I made notes this whole week. I was so proud of myself playing Path of Exile because I kept going like, I really like this. Oh, I don't like this. And I was like, man, I should write this down because we're going to get to Friday and I'm going to be like, it was fun. I won't remember it. So
listeners, be proud of Justin. It only took him
notes.
272 episodes, 272 weeks.
Did you ever open my notes
to figure out
too?
the value of notes? No.
Can you
that
click
is your
it?
private purse,
It is
mister.
my private
You do not
purse.
touch. You do not go
I
into
haven't
a
looked at
woman
yours. I never
or
look at
man's
yours
purse.
either. But click it for a minute. Just click it. Because I want you to notice that there is a show
There's
more.
a show more button. You typed
Yes.
so much. I always feel bad in like our Formula One chat when I'm responding to something and then I finish my ideas and then it says
the green button or
read
the
more
blue.
and I'm like, oh, I rambled.
That's amazing.
Justin, it's huge.
Thank you.
People are going to be so happy they don't have to listen to me this week. I
was
way
so
less notes.
proud of myself.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a show more, but it doesn't go very far. All right, Justin.
So anyway, let's get into Path of Exile.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Screw your week. Hey, Christina, hope you're great. Bye.
Yeah, kids and wife, everybody, thankfully, we're not sick and everybody's good. We're getting into that Christmas time. It's going to be a very, very busy weekend and week, and they've got cookies to make and all that fun stuff. And I've got some shopping to do.
Ooh, still?
Yeah.
5 days to go. Or I guess 4. Your son's head didn't turn into a balloon this week. You couldn't figure out the combo of ingredients.
We don't know what it is, man. And this kid,
you should tell him it's kissing.
You know what's so funny?
He's just too young.
I guess Spotify, like, I didn't even know this, but Spotify does its own thing where it like creates a a clip of our episodes as like I don't know if it's a trailer type thing. I'm not really sure what it is. That kid could not have been more proud that the clip that Spotify decided to create for us was him having to go to the ER and his face ballooning. He was
Logan.
so proud that was what Spotify had chosen. I was like, well,
Logan,
I mean,
you're
the
our
fact
MVP.
is, yeah, the first 15 minutes, buddy, that's our most important part.
Well, apparently it's first 21 minutes today.
Ooh, did we make it to 21? Haha, suck it, commenter.
Singular intended.
Yeah. I mean, overall, the commenting people are awesome. I don't read them. I do Discord. So if you come on Discord, that's where we like to chat. But Ty reads stuff. Okay, Path of Exile for me this week. I played a lot. And I did switch off of my warrior because I did not like boss scene. I didn't like that there was very little bosses.
The build that you're currently playing, you didn't play last week? Wow.
No, okay. I started it.
I didn't know that would be news. I thought you would have been 2 weeks into that character. Go ahead.
I don't remember when exactly because I can't remember that part of it, but I did start it probably this week. I was actually pretty impressed that I was able to get it up to maps as fast. I mean, that being said, leveling a second and onward character way easier because I have like so many support gems that I can throw in, and that makes such a big difference to a build.
Right. I guess your first playthrough would have been extremely exploratory, so you have all these extra things just kicking around.
Yeah, so it was a lot easier in that sense. And I did go witch, and I wanted to play minions because you and I had this talk about it, and I was like, I'm really curious, like what the minions are like. We talked about it last week. I think I wasn't really keen on just like going heavy into the end game, although that is kind of what I'm doing right now. But I wanted to try out different classes, see what other things are out there, which I still do want to do. I feel like this is the time to do it because in the end, we spend all of our time in endgame. That's where we play too. We want to do the waypoint system, the map system, all that. But when
other ascendancies come out, we're going to want to try leveling with those too, right?
Yep. So
only 24 more to go.
Is that right? Yeah, that's crazy. That is actually crazy. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. If they work, I ascended this week, and the only node I cared about, the only reason I picked the Chronomancer was for the 20% slow in my presence. Doesn't work. It doesn't even exist. It's like there's no code associated to it. You can pick it and it looks nice on the tree. So I did like all this ascending and hate for, like we talked about last week, how much we hate Sanctum. I don't know if it's called Sanctum. So
I'm going to be hating on it hard. So anyway.
Well, I didn't mean to, but I'm just saying, like, hopefully the next 12 or however they decide to introduce new
but yours is just
new
bugged, so that'll be something they fix.
Well, yeah. I hope soon. I'd like to play with it.
It's like it might take you my first one. You get the Infernal Hound and you're like, where's the hound?
It is exactly like that. You play around for a while trying to find out how to play with the hound, and no slow-mo. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, what's the curse you really like?
Temporal chains.
Yeah, it's in the game because you get cursed.
Yeah, I found it. It's under elemental though. It's not under occult with the other.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. But I mean,
I'm not sure how temporal chains is elemental.
I think all the curses show up under there.
Despair and enfeeble are under occult.
Oh, interesting. I feel like you do have to have either a lot of time to go through it when you're trying to pick skills, or you have to just know. And that we've talked about that in the past. Like the new skill system and gems, I think is actually really cool, but it does lead to some confusion or some difficulty when someone's trying to figure out. Because I actually don't think all of the time their suggestion for supports are the best, and I don't know how they find that balance, but it is tough. But I ended up going witch because that made the most sense for an actual minion play. I wanted to go infernalist. You get the hound right off the bat.
Is that a dig to me? Going Chronomancer, 100%.
The idea of going sorceress. I had this conversation with my wife who was playing with my son, who decided to start a sorceress, and then she's like, "I want pets and minions." I was like, "Oh Jesus, got another one of these in the house." I went witch. I wanted to go infernalist. There's just too many. I know that there's no like necromancer, but it is probably of all the options the best one for a minion play style because
100%.
It's still not totally full minion. So like maybe there is going to be a third ascendancy that is full minion, but
I hope not. I like that there isn't a minion ascendancy.
Yeah, you are kind of right, because the fact is it's still really strong. Like Infernalist, I can't even get the third ascension. I'm just playing on 2. So I've got the Infernal Hound, and then the one that I take damage as fire and I take physical as chaos, which is actually incredibly defensive. It's really nice. But there's one more that I really want, which is more spirit for max life. But I may as well just get this out of the way right now. Ascending in its current state is garbage. It is, and I know people have argued with me. I know there have been comments that have said the worst idea is that if you can't ascend and do them, you have a bad build. That's bullshit. I'm doing T15 maps, T14 maps, but I lost my third ascension one time because of a fire trap. Literally, my honor went from like 1900 down to 300 because I walked through, and this line of fire that goes across, I guess, tagged me. There was space. I have no idea how it hit me. But all of a sudden I heard this, and I look down, I have 300 honor. No mobs around me, nothing else, just one fire trap. That's freaking dumb. Like and that was on the 3rd floor. So I was at this final spot to get it and ended up losing it because of some stupid traps. I just think that's dumb.
I totally agree. As I mentioned last week, I'm also not a fan of Sanctum. I don't think it adheres to builds. There are going to be 2 other ways to ascend. Hopefully the Trial Master's a little bit more indicative of the RPG experience, or like the theory crafting experience. But you also were doing that before the patch.
Somebody asked me if I was doing it before the patch, and I don't know if I was. I can't remember if it was before or after.
The patch, you were venting about that to me the same day that they came out with the announcement for what they were hoping to change in the coming patch, and then that patch happened a day or 2 later.
Yeah, and I do remember there was a patch about like some damage was being 3 times too high, which maybe that is the case. But I still think even if I hadn't gotten hit by there, the idea that a magical HP bar is going to be what determines whether I can ascend is just dumb to me. Like, give me the struggle, give me the fight. Like, I actually think Ultimatum, you could kind of make an argument for, is actually not bad for, I still think there's some modifiers in there that are like, oh geez, but in general, I think it's at least better determination of like, can you do it? But even in that, in Ultimatum, I have to go through, you don't have to fight the Trial Master, but you got to go through like 10. You have to go through 10 trials and multiple bosses. And
to get which number of Ascendancy?
3rd, just your 3rd Ascendancy.
Okay.
That's a lot, first off. The 4th Ascendancy is even worse. It's the dumbest stuff ever.
It's beating the Trial Master.
And that like ascendancies are the coolest part of the game, like one of the coolest parts of building your character. I understand making it difficult. I think it should be difficult, but I think right now they've made it just not like unnecessarily an unfun level of difficulty, because it's not, I just don't feel like I'm really testing my build. I feel like I'm testing like something else. I'm not really sure what it is.
GG is not very good. Like, they want the completely random RNG experience, but there's a lot of things that do need some rules in there. And they also like some really dumb mods. Like, they're fine with brick or build bricking mods that exist, which even once you get to maps and you're fighting rares in your map, for them to just randomly roll a build bricking mod doesn't make sense, because you can't control that. You don't know that ahead of time. Now you just have to quit or die.
I found they've done a better job of that in the end game with the mods on rares, but I agree with you. Like, why put in something in the ascension part of it that I just don't get it.
Right. So when you have Sanctum or you have the Trial Master, it's not based just on your build. You're just crossing your fingers, hoping you get a decent roll for the consequences that you're going to go across, the mods that rooms are going to have, or the next trial is going to have. And that's not really, like, you could be as over leveled as you want, like you could in the first game, to try and make it easier. But the mod combinations are just like, oh shoot, this one's not going to work. Okay, let's restart. And I still think kind
Ultimatum,
of a weird.
I do agree. I think Ultimatum out of the 2 is the one that best tests your character, because you do have 3 options. I have only seen it maybe once or twice where they were things where I was like, okay, I literally cannot do that. Like that would just actually make this not possible. Sanctum, on the other hand, is just hot garbage. I know there's people that love Sanctum, but like it just seems, and they have made some changes, so maybe I haven't done it since they've made the changes. That doesn't change my opinion of it. I don't like a magical HP bar being the thing that determines if I can complete it. And it was different in the PoE 1 because that was optional content. I didn't have to go and do Sanctum.
Yeah, there was very little that was gated behind the success of the mechanic.
It wasn't anything you needed. You literally need it now. Between one of the two, and the problem too is like talking in maps. So when I did Ultimatum, I got to the 7th trial, I think, and it was fine. It was hard, and I liked that. It was a challenge. I don't like guiding a rock and some of the stupid things you have to do within it. But I got to a boss. And I've never fought this boss before. And what I didn't realize was that there's a part of the boss fight where it fills up with this like wind, these like huge tunnel turbine things of wind that are going to move across the whole arena. And I guess there must be space to dodge it, but I wasn't ready for it. I had never fought the boss before. If I could go back in there and retry and get to it, but the fact is that's the first drop I've had that's allowed me to even try and get the 3rd Ascension since I've created that character. So I have no ability to just go back and try it again, which you did in PoE 1. If I failed the lab, okay, I go back in the 3rd Ascension. I'm not talking the Uber, the 4th Ascension, but that's annoying to me because now I'm like, well, I just got to wait till a drop happens. I understand I could go on trade site probably and buy one. I don't want to. I want to work off the drops that I'm getting. So now I'm just stuck without the Ascension. I'm not going back into Sanctum right now. Like maybe I'll try it again, but so anyway, the ascending stuff to me, so stupid. I'll just deal with having 2 Ascensions for now, and it's working. I would love the 3rd one, but until either something else comes out or I'm just bored one day to try it again, it just made me angry. It was not a fun experience for me. So
is there anything gated behind Sanctum now? Like, because it's not just how you ascend, it's something that you could continuously focus on if you want to. Yeah, but what was it? There were things that were pretty gated behind.
Well, back in the day, there was stuff you could apply to keystones or something. Like you used to get these items that you could apply to a keystone to change them. That's not a thing anymore, but they're still uniques.
But they revealed in the video, there were things that were gated behind mechanics, and I can't remember which ones were for what.
Yeah, that part I'm not told. I know there's stuff gated behind the end game with regards to like breach and ritual and stuff. There, you have to go through them actually to a very unnecessary level. But I feel like that's just an end game. They threw it together. Like end game was, we know that the end game was relatively quickly put together by them because they realized people were going to want it, right? So I can kind of at least understand that a little bit. On like some positive stuff though, controller for me has been, people were talking about in 21, they're like, oh my God, Tyler must be hard right now when I was talking about controllers with them.
I wish I was on 21.
Yeah, you weren't online at the time. The fact is controller has been smooth. Like there are some interactions with it that are way longer, like frustratingly longer, like trying to just craft on an item. I'm like, where you used to be able to just right click, left click and you were done. Now it's like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if I just don't feel like it's fast enough to move stuff around.
There needs to be more consistency within the menus for where the shortcuts are for like, right analog stick snapping and stuff like that. You will save yourself a bunch of time by, if there is a specific item you're crafting, putting it in like the currency window or something like that.
Like overall,
until they figure out the rest.
But there have been some stuff that's really slow. Camille was trying to convince me to try out WASD, which I know BK was saying they use as well. So I might give it a shot, but the fact is I can throw the controller on, I can chill. It's way more relaxed. First off, I don't have enough fingers for how many skills I want to use, especially if you throw in WASD like that. I'm old. Just let me chill with a controller. Like I actually am enjoying that play style for it, but that might be different based on the type of character you're building. I'm saying with minions, it's friggin' easy because you just walk around. And the witch, though, getting up to the point of being able to play minions took me a very, very long time. And I am
okay. That's good. That I feel like you're redeeming me because I wanted to play minions and I spec'd out because it was just impossible with all the investment, which was only into minions and minion survivability. They couldn't.
But you were doing it
all.
as a sorceress though too, right?
How much minion survivability is there at the beginning though?
There's
It's all
quite
damage.
a bit. Well, there's quite a bit of damage. You're right. But there is a lot of survivability or like minion resing speed, stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
but that's I have that too. I loaded a witch to see what the starting paths were for the witch, and it wasn't survivability. Just that first bit of a path that was
the
all
first
damage.
path straight up is mostly damage, but there is very quick minion life just to the right. Minion life and minion resing.
And it's in the same cluster as the revive speed, like you were talking about. And I had that fully invested in, but there were certain bosses that I just couldn't get past.
So when I played through, I
out.
was like, I'm going to try each of the minions and see what they're like. And the fact was they were not great. The fire throwing one wasn't terrible, but once I got to the Reavers, man, the Reavers were so much fun. They were so easy for me to, in my brain, understand how they work and how maybe I could play with them. The fact that they have such a big benefit to rage and to attack speed, like it was very easy for me to try and come up with ideas on not just the tree, but like the skills and the supports around those skills to try and buff those Reavers. So, but that took a long time. Like Reavers didn't unlock until 50 something, maybe. It was pretty high.
I can't unlock them yet on my build yet either.
Yeah, so they took a while. But once I got to playing with Reavers, so far they've been my favorite. The clerics, I'm using them too. I will say one thing about clerics. So here's where I'm going to give GG some praise because I'm about to rip them in half on the other part of it. Their AI for clerics, can Age of Empires 3 take some notes? Because they're amazing. They just chill in the back and heal like they should. They let everything else go up in front. They always move to the back of the fight. It's so refreshing to see my clerics working from the back. If you've ever played Age of Empires 3, for some reason priests are like, onward, and they're like the first to run into a battle.
Follow me.
It's so frustrating. So they did a great job like on that. But on the other side, the minion AI, I really hope that that's on their to-do list because it is brutal. It's like if there's a narrow passage or a door, they'll just be like standing there 2 by 2 in a row, just waiting. I'm like, somebody, could you just it is so annoying. I don't know if they need to make sure that minions themselves don't have collision with each other or something, but they cannot function in narrow passageways and doors. And I messaged you yesterday. I'm not sure that the people who designed the minions and their AI ever spoke to the people who designed the levels, that designed for the level layouts, because there are so many times, like in the end game, you know, the tower, right? We've seen the towers. I'm not spoiling anything. The towers, and you can like put stuff that affects everything else. You have to do those towers a lot. And it's the same type of map every single time. And it's just imagine like a castle top, a pathway, a castle top, and you're working your way through this maze of that. But dude, that's a door every single castle top. It is like, I have to run in. I've had to basically just adjust how I make my build to make them defensive so that she can just run in and hope that I don't die, because somehow I need to try and get the minions to come in or wait or go far enough away that they'll re-res because I've moved far enough away from them. Oh, it drives me crazy. They would be so much more fun. I don't know what they were like really in Path of Exile 1. They were probably the same, but
the collision detection with them was very small, to the point where sometimes I would have to double check to make sure that they had collision detection. In this game, I still have Spirit that I'm playing with because I'm trying out different ideas, and I've spec'd out of minions, but I still have minions kicking around because I have leftover Spirit that my build can't use. And there's some times where I've just turned them off. I'm like, they're always in the way.
For you, though? Because I don't find
the collision detection, I'm in a boss fight that's really narrow and small, and I'm trying to get out of the way, and it's my minions that are in the way.
I don't feel like I've ever had collision with the minions. I feel like they have collision with each other, and that's what drives me crazy.
Oh, in the narrow places too. Like imagine doing the dreadnought.
No, I did. Oh,
I know you did.
Every time I got there, I was like, oh,
it's 1,000 little bridges with dumb AI. Oh,
right.
well.
So and
Well,
especially
not
if you're playing,
like hopefully it gets fixed. But
yeah, especially if you're going melee minions, because they're not even like casting at range to do it, but it drives me bananas if I get a layout in a map, and there's a lot of them in endgame that are sort of layouts like that. It's like, am I supposed to find a different route, or am I literally supposed to try and make my character as tanky as possible so that she can roll in and just roll around like an idiot, hoping that the minions will res up on them. I don't know if it's different with a range type, because I didn't really enjoy the fire ones. I also don't want too much where I have to like hit an additional button, like the whole command and direct and stuff. I wanted to just play them. I have to say, like the Reavers, the way I've got them set up right now, I could, if I wanted to, just move. I could never cast anything and just walk around, and it will take me longer, but it is up to the point where it's feeling pretty strong, and I'm up to T14 and T15 maps. So like I have been enjoying it. It's taken me a bit, and I have had to make some adjustments to make my character a bit more tanky. I played with ideas around maybe going mind over matter, but in the end I decided to go ES. Grim Feast is just way too strong. It's amazing. The fact that it doubles your ES is crazy. So I am playing with Grim Feast. That's awesome. But yeah, I think I also feel like though a lot of it seems weighted to the later game. Like I didn't feel like I really got strong until much later, and that takes a bit of the fun out of it, because I was really, really struggling early on with trying to figure out how am I supposed to play this witch. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm going to read part of our private WhatsApp chat to the world, okay? It's after the nude pics.
Yeah.
Witch/minions and the Act 1 boss is the biggest feeling of uselessness ever, LOL. That's even with every single point I've spent being minion related. Then I tried Flame Wall and SRS, easy.
Yeah,
and that was stupid. Justin speaking to me, so I feel vindicated, because there's a lot of people that think that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to Path of Exile, and I don't know how to build builds and all this kind of stuff. I feel vindicated. I do know Path of Exile, okay,
he does,
but it was awful. Yeah, it does remind me a little bit. Like I remember Jonathan. I think it was the Q&A with Ziggy, where Jonathan and Mark were talking about how like Act 1 is tested like a lot because of process, and then the farther you get into the game, including endgame, less and less is tested. And I think they were just saying that to be like, hey, we know endgame's going to need some work, just be patient. Like that's the biggest part of the game. It's the least controlled part of the game, I guess you could say. So just be patient with us and let us know your stuff. But I don't feel like Act 1 was very well. Like I'm having a very we'll get to me in a sec. You keep going, because I am very curious about I have some minion questions for you, but I'm bored. I'm still in the act. I just started Act 3. I'm bored.
Yep, I've had that too.
And I can explain why later. But
no,
it is
explain why.
Unfortunately,
we don't have to go in an order. I don't care.
Oh no, I don't want. I just don't want to interrupt you anymore. But no, I'm bored because drops suck, and progress. Like I love long battles. I preached long battles in Path of Exile 1. I wanted that for Path of Exile 2, and I got it. But they're exhausting, not because of their length, but because of their length plus the reward. Like if I'm in Act 2 on my first character, I shouldn't be investing in what's it called? Like item found. What's it called? Magic find. Yeah, item rarity. I shouldn't I'm investing in like trying to find some measly resist. I'm trying to find a tiny bit of life or ES or whatever it is. Like I'm scraping together, and I like that scarcity. Like I'm the kind of person where I thought Ruthless still dropped too much in Path of Exile 1, but there isn't enough rules for their RNG. Like I'll spend 3 minutes fighting a pack of magic mobs because their health is so high, and they don't even drop a magic item. And it's going to be a normal item that I'm like, I've seen that 100,000 times. Like that wasn't worth my time. A rare enemy will come up and it'll have some dumb mods for Act 1 and Act 2, like mana drain or flask drain, which like those are the kind of mods where it's like
drain, because that was awful.
Still in your first or second act, get out of here. Like, come on, right? Like, what do you want me to do in my first character when I come across this? What is your intention for my character? So I'll come across and I'll be fighting a rare, and it'll take me 3-4 minutes, whatever it is, right? Going through, it's dead and it drops a magic item, but it's a a magic item that isn't even relevant for the state of the game. You know, like I was talking about last week.
You say state of the game, or do you mean your character? Like, what do you mean?
No, I'm talking state of the game. I'm talking like I used the lesser life flask as an example in last week's episode, where a lesser life flask still drops much later in the game, even though it's the first flask that should be dropping, and then it's been replaced 4 or 5 times. But see, a good loot system doesn't hide a lesser life flask in higher zoned areas. It refuses for that to drop. A good loot system will only have RNG for relevant items for that.
Yeah, there needs to be a good
in our area level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that it shouldn't be up to the filter to cull pointless items. It should be up to the filter to show the relevant items. And so there is a difference between if it's being hidden, it's still part of the RNG process, which makes loot suck, right? So if they had a system where it's like, if a magic mob, let's say every magic mob is 5 enemies in that pack, right? If you're guaranteed like a magic item per magic enemy killed, okay, maybe that's worth it, right? Or if maybe instead, to even keep it less loot, 1 rare item's guaranteed for a magic mob, right? Like for the whole pack, you get 1 rare item. Or it's one or the other. If you're guaranteed a rare item when you defeat a rare monster, awesome, right? Okay, if it ends up being a crossbow every single time, well, that's just the fate of RNG and life goes on. But at least I'm excited at the possibility. Now, when I'm going through the game, I'm just like, man, really? Like, I know I'm not going to get anything valuable.
I can't tell if they want you to craft more, which is fine because their crafting system is actually pretty cool. But I feel the same way with drops. Like even into endgame mapping, first off, there's way too much that's dropping. Way too much. Yep. Way too much.
Okay.
Because it's way too much that's not useful. And until I got to like literally tier 10, tier 11, the drops were like not even worth picking up. I was using them for scraps for regals. Because when I got up to the higher tiers, man, the drops start getting way better. You get these new like tier, it'll say in brackets like tier 5, tier 6 or whatever. And I was asking in chat, like, what does that mean? Oh, that it literally is their loot system of if it's a higher tier, it has a better chance of rolling. It will roll higher tier mods. And I was like, why don't you just do that in general? Like, why wouldn't you just make it so that as I'm progressing through the difficulty, so is the loot. Like that's the point of progression. Like even if it was like that the white items were going to be better bases, which they actually are. They are generally better. The problem is they're just surrounded by so much other stuff and stuff that you'll never ever need to pick up or want to pick up.
That's really disappointing. I wonder how much that would change though if they had that system where I'm talking about where the lesser life flask just doesn't drop. When you think about that for how base types work. Now, I don't know what people know about base types that are listening. I know it quite well because of all the filter work that I've done. But if you didn't show any of the worst base types, if everything, I don't know how to word this. Like I'm going back into Path of Exile 1 because I don't know base types in this game yet, right? They don't have them posted on the wiki. There's no relevant list. You can't make your own filters yet. So I don't really know how to do it. But, you know, if I go back to the flask thing, if a medium life flask should only show until the grand life flask, but not just show in the filter, but like it should not be capable of dropping. But if you did that with crossbows, and if you did that with shields, and if you did that with helmets, and all for the sub base types, you know what I'm talking about, like not just in general, but I wonder how much that would cull all the crap on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know why they do what they do. I don't know why everything is part of the drop pool. I will say, trying to think, in maps, I don't actually think I've seen many of the like, it's just ultimate and transcendent. I don't actually think I've seen any of the like anything lower than the top 2 tiers of flasks drop. So I can't even say.
It's just the campaign that needs the work.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I agree with you though. There should always be this like plus or minus 5, and that's the range where it can drop, and then you move on to the next one.
That'd be a good happy medium too, instead of just so cut and dry, like I was saying. So I have a question, and this was something that like, I still think that for your first playthrough, that does need to be considered. You want, like, it's a free-to-play game, or it's going to be a free-to-play game. You want that first person playing this game for the first time. Like, I gave away some keys to people, or sorry, we gave keys away to people, and you get feedback from new people, and it's like, you want them to stay, right? Yep. So that does need to be considered. But then you have the item, what's it called? I don't know why I keep forgetting what Magic Find is actually called.
Item rarity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gone.
Uh-oh. Well, can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you get to stare at a frozen face. The camera's being stupid. Item rarity.
All right, so item rarity. Is that working? Like, is that really beneficial?
You do feel it. I haven't focused on it at all, but it's such a hard metric to gauge, because unless you focus on it and then actually start like doing some sort of calculations, I honestly don't have a fair answer for you on that one. If I can get it on an item, I'll take it, but I don't know how much of a benefit it's actually having on me. To me, item rarity should never ever be something you should focus on unless you've purposely chosen to focus on it. I think you should feel some benefit out of it, but not enough where you feel like you need to focus on it. But I have no idea.
Okay. So I have some questions for you before we get into my build or my experience, but you're playing minions.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I think is really cool is Predator support from the first game is no longer a support gem, as far as I know. It's just built into every minion skill.
What does it do?
Every minion, well, before, Predator support would be anybody that was linked to everything that was linked to that support. When you clicked Predator support, which ended up being the signal prey skill, you'd mark an enemy and all your minions would attempt to attack that enemy.
Right.
Now that's kind of built into all just or the majority of minion skills, and it's an active skill, but it comes not just with the command of attack this thing, but it also comes with like
some bonus,
a skill as well. Like, I don't know, like a directed ice nova or whatever it would be. I think that's really cool. Do you think that maybe when you're stuck on your bridges or in your narrow areas with your minions, that the intent is that that skill is used, or does that work for like commanding minions off of narrow areas? I haven't played with it yet.
So I can only talk about on the reverse side, and theirs is called Berserk, I think is what it's called. That's the command skill for them. And yes, it does sometimes, but I also can't, what I can't figure out is like, when I press that, is that per reaver, or do I have to press it one time for all of them? Because Berserk basically just sends them into a rage, and it is awesome, but I literally only ever have to use it on bosses. I have tried it in those narrow passages, and you can see like their hands raise up, and there are some times where it does push them through the door. But when you're playing controller support, it's not like you're always aiming at a location, right? Because I don't really have control over that with the controller. It's actually one thing that's driven me bananas. There's a skill called Pain Offering, which is awesome. It's incredibly strong, but it needs a minion to cast it, right? I can't control where it's aiming, and there are times where I'm casting it and I feel like I'm in the direction of minions, but it's not going off. But more frustrating than that is it's still costing me mana. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't even get the cast off, and I'm losing mana.
I think there's a glitch with casting in general, like just the global casting. I get that when you're, and I actually don't mind this, when I get stunned mid-cast, it still costs me the mana, but I don't get my cast off.
Totally. That's, yep.
I like that. I think that's cool, because then it still puts a focus on, okay, I'm still going to be ranged or far back or whatever it's going to be, but I need to care about my stun recovery or stun prevention. But there's like, I'll be casting my curse, and those get applied on the ground, and then after a duration it pops activates, and it's bright and it's good. The visuals are good. There are sometimes I cannot see. It's like it's getting cast under the ground and it never activates, or you don't see the activation, it doesn't register on me. Like, there's so many times I'm casting and it's like, nope, it's not working. Or there's I'm using Frostbolt a lot because I like that chilled ground. And there's another skill, I forget what it's called, that explodes the Frostbolt.
Okay.
And turns it into like an ice nova. I'm like, following these, like, because they're slow moving, these frost bolts, and I'm like, explode. Nope. I'll cast 3 in a row, and I'll like be button mashing the one, and it'll just pick one of them, like the middle one, to explode. So I think there's just an issue with casting in general right now.
On controller, and it took me a while to figure this out, and where I finally felt like a Pain Offering was starting to actually work properly, and I have no idea why it would have been a difference, but on controller support, there's no more of this like attack on move where you used to right click a skill. I don't know how it was controller, but now you have to go into the individual skill, go into the I can't remember what it's called, socket options or something, and there's now a button that you can click on that says always attack, like you don't have to move to do the attack. That's made a huge difference for me for Pain Offering, which was a big deal because I've added a support onto Pain Offering, which is costing me life each time I do it, but I'm getting a bigger payoff. But if I all of a sudden spend 15% of my health and no Pain Offering goes off, well, that's a big deal. Like I'm almost dead. So the minions have, for me, I'll just wrap up a couple of my things because then I want to hear about your stuff. Minions have felt good, but it took way too long, like way too long to feel like it was fun playing minions. And I don't know if that's meant to be, but that is how it is right now. I think the screen clutter and on death effects are awful. I rage quit last night because, and I messaged Tyler right after. I died to an on death effect. It was some sort of double explosion that happened. I'd killed 2 rares, good tier map drops. They have added, I again have no idea what goes on through some of their heads sometimes. When you're in maps and you kill any rare, because that's the whole point of mapping, right? You have to kill rares, which I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. But any rare you kill has an on-death effect. That's not that it's doing damage, but there is an animation that is large and goes up in the air every time you kill any rare in a map. But then you couple that with the potential of the rare having an actual on-death effect that does damage is so dumb. I never know, is this them doing something bad, or is this just the normal one that's going to go? I don't know why they added this effect to every rare that is killed. It makes no sense to me at all. Like maybe there's some lore thing to it because it's this weird corrupty like explosion into the air, but like, do you couple that with your worst design ever, which is on death effects? It is, I think, probably one of the worst things in Path of Exile. It drives me bananas. I killed the mob. Stop penalizing me for getting the loot. I did the fight. But then to couple it with this like new animation that just happens with rares is bonkers. I go crazy trying to do that. But the other problem with killing rares, so that's how you have to complete the map now, right? And you need to complete the map in order to progress the atlas to move further along in the line. What that's done for me is made me have to skip mechanics until I've killed all the rares. So now I have to remember, where was that breach? Where was that expedition? Where is these mechanics within the game that are actually fun? I do enjoy doing them. Like breach is really cool, except that for some reason breach is gated behind like tier 10 maps. Like you do them, but you don't actually get the proper drops until way higher tiers. I don't get that. But I'm running right past it because I can't risk. It's not part of the map completion, but I can't risk, because if I die, that's gone. I have to redo another waystone. I'm not sure if that's what they meant to happen, because they put the risk of death at such a high penalty. If I die, the map's done. And that means I can't risk dying to a mechanic I might like or want to enjoy until I've killed all the rares and I know I'm safe to progress through the atlas. So that it's kind of taken away a bit of the fun of like walking across a breach or seeing something that I want to engage with.
That's really too bad.
And then
hopefully they hear you, because they changed the value of respecking gold now.
Yeah, it's better.
Substantially cheaper. So they definitely heard your comments, and it was obviously because they were listening to you that they changed it.
It lets me play with the tree
now. Even though we've talked about on death effects for the last 20 years, Hopefully now they'll be like, oh, Justin doesn't like them. Let's get rid of them.
I would just love to know why there's a rare effect at all. Why is there an effect?
It's kind of like, well, have you tried turning the power on to your PC, when you're troubleshooting,
Mm-hmm.
but do you have a rare finisher effect on that maybe is impeding, kind of like, like the pay to lose aspect of Righteous Fire, you get the Celestial Righteous Fire. Now you can't see anything.
I don't.
So now you're just going to die.
And even more so, I know it's not my effect, is because when you finally kill the last rare on the map for map completion, the effect is like 4 times as big.
Oh, so it's okay. But I guess that makes sense. Like if it's a very busy screen, there's an effect in the game that shows you, hey, you accomplished one of the things you need to do to finish this map. So I guess the prospect of an effect makes sense.
Just don't also have on death effects that do damage. Like I have no way of knowing for sure, am I safe to go get the loot? And you guys put the loot right in the middle. So I see the effect go, I think I'm fine. And then like half a second later, something goes off that kills me. It's like, come on. Like that to me is just, especially because now there is such a high penalty to death. You've lost the loot and you've lost the map. And that is incredibly frustrating to die. I'm not playing hardcore, so piss off. Like that's not how I want to play the game. But the Atlas passive tree, really, really cool. Way too late game gated. I loved in PoE 1. I get to maps. Each map I complete, that's a new map, I'm going to get a point. I get to spend it. It's going to be fun. That's not the case anymore. You have to complete 10 tier 1s, 10 tier 2s, 10 tier 3s, 10 tier 4s, 10 tier 5s. It goes all the way up until I think it drops to like 8 of them instead of 10. And that will give you 2 points. Each of those will give you 2 points to spend. Like,
is the Atlas passive tree a lot smaller than it used to be?
Way smaller.
It's the beginning stages, maybe.
But it also,
but it is.
They branched it out weirdly now because it's not all one Atlas passive. Like Breach is its own passive, which also I've done breaches up until tier 14s. Still have no idea what I do to get that point. I've not gotten a single point to be able to put into breaches. I don't know what it takes to get that. But the actual Atlas passive itself, one of the best parts about the Atlas passive tree used to be, there was just this feeling of, even if it was something stupid, like 2% of a connected map to drop, you still felt like you were progressing towards something. Now it just feels like this slog of, I have to do that many maps to get 2 points. And you're going to do the maps anyway. I do understand that, but it just, that excited feeling of doing the map is not there anymore. It's the excited feeling of doing my 10th map. I get it back, but then I've lost it for the next 10 maps. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. It's tough. Like when, so for me, Path of Exile 1 was an amazing game, but I hated it at the same time. There was just too much stupid in the game, in my opinion. Like, I'm not like criticizing. It's just, whoever makes the game has different opinions for what's fun and what's not compared to me. So when I say it's stupid, I'm not calling them stupid. It's just, I think that's stupid. I don't have fun with that in the game. So Path of Exile 1 was loaded with those kind of things, but I loved the concept of it and there was nothing else like it. So it was fun. It was where I spent my time, but there were so many things that just infuriated me. And so, that's where a lot of the hope and the arguments and the passionate comments come from everybody for Path of Exile 2. They have their things that they're really hoping Path of Exile 2 fixes. And so for me, you just keep Path of Exile 1 and you fix things like your modification rules, your drop rules and off-screen damage and on kill effects. And I have my favorite game that I've ever played and I will never play anything else. You know what I mean? Like you just change those things. So yeah, okay. So now you're making the sequel and you're trying to fix some things and makes sense. Great. And you're trying to improve so much, but when you change so much, you're not really building off of a successful foundation. You're starting new, and starting new. Sure, it might be a better idea, but it also comes at the risk of not being a better idea in the long term, right? Like, and things are always different on paper than they are when you actually get the product all together. And that, to your experience, that's kind of where I was coming from this week. Like on Tuesday night, I didn't have any plans. Aaron and I, my wife and I, we have our date night on Wednesday nights. And so it's Tuesday night. We know we're going to watch Dark on Wednesday night.
Crazy,
and so
I watched.
You did? You saw the two?
Nice, okay. We're supposed to watch 4, right?
Oh, are we?
I thought we were going to watch 4 and then catch up because we missed last week because of BK. No?
Oh, well, I was up to date though. So you should be finished season 2 now.
I am. I have one more episode left.
Okay. So I've watched up to the end of season 2 and I'm up to date.
Anyway,
okay,
sorry.
so don't start season 3. No, you're good. And so Tuesday night, I have a free night. No buddies are asking to hang out. My wife's sick, but she's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I asked her what she wanted to do. And it was like, I did care. Like, I'm like, let's hang. If you want to hang out, let's hang out. I'll do whatever you want. I don't care. Like, we're playing this game. What was this game called? Path of Exile 2 co-op whenever we're online together at the same time. And that's part of why I'm still only in the beginning of Act 3 is because, I'll like unlock Act 3, but then she's only halfway through Act 2. So you go back and play. And it's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that with these part of the games. And I think GGG's done a great job with scaling down powerful characters. You feel just as useless and weak when you're going into somebody else's world. Right. Yeah, exactly. Level 80 feels like level 10 when you're in level 10. So when in co-op. But she's like, you know what? Let's just watch Dark. So it's Tuesday night. She's like, let's just watch Dark. And I realized after when we'd finished watching Dark, it was too late. I was too tired to turn on PoE after the fact. I was like, I was not disappointed at all that she didn't say like, no, I'm going to go to bed or do my own thing. Like, I was not disappointed at all that I didn't get to play PoE 2 tonight. And it's kind of coupled with like all these different changes that they've made has, at the end of the day, for me currently, the leveling experience isn't exciting. I don't feel like the nodes that I'm applying to my character are being very useful. I don't feel like I'm getting any drops that help. And again, like, I'm the kind of person where I like scarcity, but I'm also like, I'm going through a very long fight and I don't feel like I'm going to get a reward no matter the character that I'm playing. It's not like it's just I'm getting, it's a crossbow. Oh, shoot, it's a quarterstaff. I'm looking for a scepter. I'm looking for an all energy shield helmet. I feel like I'm just not, no matter the character that I'm playing, I'm just going to get crap. You know what I mean? And so it's just at that balance right now where it's not actually fun. Like, I'm still excited that it's early access and I love providing the feedback and I'm enjoying the process of early access, and I understand it's early access. So it's not a criticism to the game in terms of it being the final product, but just currently now it is kind of a boring experience. It feels more like an action game with a passive tree. You know what I mean? But again, it's the early access experience. So I'm hoping that changes. I have been thinking about minions a lot now that I've heard from multiple sources, including yourself, that minions are effective once you get past the initial hurdle stage of the first act or two. Minions really do come into their own, which is great. So I'll probably have a second character that I do that with, but none of the ascendancies really interest me very much. So you are still there, right?
I am, yeah. I'm just listening.
Okay, good. No, it's good.
I was debating when to cut in or just to say something because you can't see me. So if I all of a sudden open my mouth, you
interrupt me anytime, man.
I was just going to say minions for me definitely did not come into their own until way later, which was a bit frustrating. But also, I mean, minions kind of always sucked early on. And I don't know where you find that balance, because I kind of feel like right now minions might be too strong in the end game.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and what am I coming from? I'm just comparing it to my warrior, but the warrior was like a struggle in maps, whereas the minion character, I got into maps and I had minus 42 lightning resist, and I was doing maps like because they were strong and I could stay back. Now it was actually so exciting to get resist capped because I was like, I am a god.
Oh, so you did? Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while, but I did do it. But
you can feel it.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's just awesome. Like in any other game or any other PoE experience, getting those resists up is just incredibly a different feeling to your character. But my feeling is I've actually had so much fun learning the new tree and learning the new skills and playing with different skills. Like, and I
Yeah.
think that's where my head's mostly been at with trying to get used to early access is what are all these different combos? Like, it's so fun seeing this new tree, trying to figure out where you can go. Like, the tree itself to me is exciting. I think that there are a lot of fun possibilities, especially when you couple it with some of the supports and trying to learn all these supports. There's so many of them and you're like, I don't know, could I make that one work? Like, is this going to be fine? So I think like my experience has been fun. I have really enjoyed playing it, but the stuff that bugs me enough to be like, fuck the game. It's so weird. It's so weird because I'm really enjoying parts of it, but the parts I don't like, I'm just like, I feel like maybe I'm over exaggerating to my, like being a bit of a diva even to myself when I'm like, I think I sent you a message yesterday. I was like, it's early access. Calm down, Justin. That was my message to myself.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. You know what? It's good to remember, but you're still going through the experience. You know what I mean? So, for anyone else, like as frustrated as a certain situation might be or anything, like it's early access. It's the best time to give that feedback. Like, I mean, don't like threaten them or anything.
No,
but
do
give
it in
that
a nice way.
Let them know that it was frustrating.
Mhm.
You know, like it sucks. Like this experience is not, when you're thinking about fun for the user, this didn't work for me. And
I think
that's
a
what
big
this
part
is all
of
about
that,
right now.
I think a big part of that feedback too is accepting the fact that maybe you just don't understand. I've had to do that myself and go like, what am I missing? If I like, I don't write bugs, but if I was, I think a lot of it would end with like, just tell me what I'm like, maybe I'm missing something, but like, what am I not understanding with it? Yeah. Because I think that's my case for a lot of this stuff is me just going like, that what's the thought? At least give me some explanation besides on death effects, which I think you'll never be able to explain it in a way that makes me go, okay, those are fair.
Agreed. That's something you and I think are always going to agree on.
Yeah, but I have had a lot of fun with the minions. I went way further into endgame than I expected to go because I was not planning on doing the Atlas stuff. The Atlas, like progression through the Atlas is interesting. I haven't quite figured out yet if I like it or not because it's just this never ending foreverness. So I haven't quite figured out if I like that or not because I don't know where to go. With the Atlas, I knew where to go. Just progress through the maps. Now with this like ginormous world, I'm like, I zoomed out. Oh, that was the biggest mistake I could have ever made. I should have just stayed zoomed in the whole time. But overall, my experience has been fun. It's just crazy that the things that I don't enjoy as an experience are so rage inducing to the point where I just quit.
Yeah. Well, because some of those things, though, like they're not PoE2 specific, they're Path of Exile specific, right?
Yeah, I'm just
so
used
you've
to them.
been right, and then when you have that hope of PoE2 could finally get rid of what they're doubling down on it.
They exactly not only doubled down, but like quadrupled down. Now it's hey, here's your on death effect. Oh, and fuck your loot. Oh, and fuck your map. Like it's not just you died. Right. It's like so much else is lost with it. So you're a big fan of the Home Alone series, or at least the original 1 and 2.
Macaulay Culkin. We are too. Think of who is it? Harry's Joe Pesci, right? And then Marv is the tall one, right? Okay, so think of Harry, who's always doing like the mumble. Mm-hmm. Practice doing that. That's your therapy advice for the week. When it's time to like vent and rage and break your PoE2 controller, just go into Joe Pesci mode in Home Alone and be like,
do you know how gentle I have to be with this controller because I don't want to break it?
There's another step, right? Yeah, that's right. It's just
calmly turn the game off and then go punch a wall.
Exactly. Oh man,
I just messaged you. The fact is, like, it does frustrate me.
I'm glad you do. I like hearing.
But the fact is, we're playing a video game. And we're playing it at its earliest stage of being released to the public. And the fact is, I am having fun. I do enjoy it. It's just the things I don't like can get me way more angry than the things I do like get me excited.
Okay.
So there's
that's good though.
Yeah, but a lot of that stuff will get figured out over time, and I can accept some of it. I just think there's some stuff I just think is dumb. That's all.
Samesies, J-Dog, samesies. So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay, yeah. Go for
And
it.
this is about where like I eventually want to go, because I'm always thinking minions, even though I'm doing something else. I'm
You
always
should watch
thinking
me
about
play it. I should show you it.
Yeah,
I should
I'd love
just
to.
throw it on Discord or something. Go ahead.
So your hound, does it auto resurrect? Like, is it just automatically on? So it takes 20% of damage based, but until it dies, right?
Yep.
And then it just has, it's part of the normal 10-second countdown.
Or it also works off of any minus percentage you have to res time. But yes.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Just like a minion.
But it is a minion, so you could spec into minion damage and allocate supports to it, and it will do damage.
100%. Yep. I have call on it. I have maim on it, so it's applying maim, and I have meat shield on it, just so it has more life.
Okay, so it does it have a skill as well, like the skeletons do, where it's like, go attack this person?
Nope, it's just its own thing.
Okay, that's all amazing. Now, you cannot assign it to a meta gem, right?
No, it's its own gem.
Okay. Now, for spirit, I'm still early in the game, so how do normal builds get spirit? Is it only through scepters?
Nope, scepters, chest, helmet, and amulet.
Now, but are those base type specific? Are those implicits, or are they just mods that can roll? I know with the scepters, they're an implicit, or the
mods
default
that can
value.
roll, except on the chest and amulet, there's also an implicit base type as well. If you were lucky enough to get both, I don't, but yeah.
If none of your items have spirit, do you have 0 spirit, or is there a default amount that you gain, just like life and mana?
You would have it just off of the scepter. There might be a spot on the I'm trying to remember.
Well, the Invoker has a cool one where, based on the amount for every 6 energy shield and every 6 evasion, or individually, you get 1 spirit. And that's on your body armor, on your chest. So for every 6 energy shield, you get 1 spirit on your body armor. And for every 6 evasion on your body armor, you get 1 spirit. But
that is
then
interesting.
It also says you don't get spirit from items.
Oh, I'm curious what they would, I guess maybe more so, not minion though. That would be more so for like your auras or your buffs or something, because I can't see where I would go in a direction that would use the minions. I mean, the Infernalist has that one where you sacrifice 25% of your health, or is it 25%? 15% of your health? I can't remember. And you get 1 spirit per 25 health or something. That's big. I just can't get it because Ascending's stupid, and I wanted the Infernal Hound first. But that's what I would be going for. Is the
Infernal Hound 2 spots away or 1?
2. Well, it's your first ascension can get you to the Hound, and then your second ascension.
What was your second one?
It was the one where you take cold and lightning damage as fire, and you take physical as chaos. But then it's the next ascension after that that has the one that I want. I don't remember what it's called, but it's got the +1 spirit.
That's very interesting to me, because the Hound was the only thing that interested me in that Ascendancy as well. But I like I've always liked the idea of like me with my spiritual aid node that doesn't exist in this game as far as I know, smashing stuff with my best buddy minion also hanging out with me, like the Reaper type of thing.
I am using the spell myself.
Does the Hound reserve spirit?
Nope.
Oh, that's
0 spirit. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's just on. I am using oh my god, why am I blanking on the skill? It blows up corpses.
Desecrate?
No, blows up corpses.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Detonate dead?
Yep.
I am using that as my only like really active skill that I'm using, just because it helps me clear through faster, and mobs have such high HP. I tried, what else did I try? I've tried a couple different ones, but for the most part, literally I walk around and I just do pain offering, and then I chill. I think I've got is it punishment as my curse? So the physical one. I throw that out every now and then if I want to, because I've got the support on it that makes it so it spreads if the enemy dies. But I don't do anything else. That's kind of it. I just throw out the pain offering, let my guys go bananas, and then I've been playing around with the sniper just for breaking armor with they have a cloud. There's a support that I found that's a cloud, poison cloud, that does like massive armor break. And I've noticed some of the bosses are pretty tanky as I've been going through, even some of the rares. So I that's just a test, though. I have no idea if it's actually working that well. I can notice it on bosses, but
Yeah. Armor only matters against physical damage, though, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking the global picture.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of new stuff to learn in the game.
Yep.
So, like, the Infernalist interests me because you could get the Hellhound and stack some minion life and all that kind of stuff. But then coupling that with Mind Over Matter is just awesome, especially if you're not using a lot of mana.
Yep.
That would, I forget, what's Mind Over Matter now? Is it 50%?
Yep.
It was a crazy number. So now that, you couple those together and that's 70%, right?
Well, not only that, but there's another node in the Witch tree just a little bit to the north where it's like something about 20%. It's an additional 20%. And then you can get recouped mana based on damage taken. Like I had debated trying Mind Over Matter, but then I tried Grim Feast and I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to play with ES now and see how that works. But the Infernalist, that second Ascension is actually really strong. Testing. 1, 2, 3. I forgot that you couldn't see when I walked away.
Yeah, and I came back. I was like, hello? And you weren't.
I was like, well, he's going to be gone for a minute, or he's talking to his daughter. I'll just quickly pop out for a second. And then I came back. I was like, wait a minute. He wouldn't have even known.
No. But you fixed your camera, so thank you.
I figured I'd unplug it. Who knows if it's going to mess anything up. Currently, my audio looks like it's still recording. The only thing that I was saying was that that second Ascension on the Witch is actually surprisingly strong. Like to be able to take that elemental damage as fire and 20%, and then physical as chaos lets you invest heavier into fire. I can't remember in PoE 1 if it was was it the totem guy, the fire guy that could make it so that you took more as fire damage, but it just lets you invest really heavily into fire resist, and then you take the Hound as well into that. Like it's actually a relatively defensive option with the Infernalist, and that's why I liked it.
That's nice.
So
yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm the Chronomancer. I did ascend finally, and I ascended before the patch made it easier. Thank you very much. But
nice job.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
No big deal.
But I didn't enjoy the process. It wasn't fun. I didn't use my build for anything to get there. The only time I really used my build was when I was, not even really then. Like when. Where you're killing the mages, the skeleton mages that are keeping the portals alive. And then in the boss fight, besides that, it was just like F this, F this, F this, F this, F this. And then I'd go, I think it's really dumb in Sanctum when the enemies follow you into that room.
Into the final room, yeah.
Oh, like, come on. Invisible barrier or something. Like, just leave it alone.
Minions
like,
help ridiculous. A lot for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I agree.
I'm the Chronomancer. I have ascended. I have taken the 20% slow in my presence. It doesn't work.
Hasn't done anything.
There's nothing on the enemies that indicates it. There's nothing in my character screen.
That's nice.
There are many people in the forums that also feel like mine. So
that feels like an easy fix.
Instead of, it wasn't fixed with the last big patch. So, and I was like, I immediately went Chrono, and it was like, oh, they fixed a different Chrono
something else
scale. Oh, shoot. Yeah. But I went, and instead of writing my own bug report, because there were so many of them that were commenting, so many different posts, I was like, yep, me too. Yep, me too. Yeah. And I just bumped them all up to the top. Yeah. There's like 7 of them. Yeah. So it was good. But I'm doing Chaos Dot. Because I'm enjoying casting a curse, and the curse has Decaying Hex on it, which grants, it was 30% of my intelligence as chaos damage, but now it's 60% since the E patch. And then there's also Impending Doom on it. That just basically explodes for, I think it's 20% of my maximum mana. Not current mana, but maximum mana. And so I'm doing that. That's kind of like...
So what are you
probably my
casting?
Best damage? It's slow. So right now it's Enfeeble.
Okay.
And that works because it's I'm taking less damage, so it's working, and it's dealing damage. And because of Impending Doom, it does damage. Like, it's still a slow clear, but once the enemies start reaching the lower parts of their life, it's boom, 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 boom. So it's decent, but I need to be able to manage. I have to do crowd control and get them into, like, I run around in circles, wait till they're in a group, then I cast it, and I keep running around in circles. So I do need my space for the style that I'm playing. But
that's one of the struggles too with the curses, because you have to put them on the ground and then try not to get them to run out of it. It's one thing I've noticed with mine too.
And so I'm also investing into curse efficiency, but then those nodes will have like increased curse duration or lower curse duration and those kind of things. So there's other things that are going into that that are applying to my build, but I'm really just aiming for curse efficiency. Last week I said blasphemy support doesn't have a reduction to curse efficiency on it.
Yeah.
I didn't see that there were multiple tabs within the blasphemy support skill. Unfortunately, it's a massive decrease, which I don't see them keeping. It's a 47% less effect of your curse.
40 or 47?
47.
They picked 47?
Yeah. 0.68789. No, I don't know. It's just said 47. Hilarious. But the
hold
thing
on,
is,
I'm just curious, is that 47? Do you think that 47 is having is different because of anything you have on the tree? Because that just seems like such a weird number for them to pick.
It could be 50% for all I know. I don't know. But the thing is like, if I have
blasphemy is always on, right? That means everything around
it's
you.
An aura. It reserves 60% of your spirit, or not 60%, 60 flat spirit. But that's a lot. Like, there's no way with that amount of reduction, there's no way anybody's going to invest in curse effectiveness, because it would take an insane amount of investment just to equal the original state. And you could get way more value in anything with that same amount of investment. Blasphemy support is what turns the curse into an aura.
So it does mean you could only have one curse as an aura, right?
No, it's you could link multiple curses in there, and each one will cost you 60. Well, you can. There's Whispers of Doom exists on the tree, so that'll give you a second.
But isn't the curse the active skill?
The curse is the active skill.
How would
so
you?
Each
how
one
would
reserve. Everyone would reserve. Well, because blasphemy supports a meta gem.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And so then, no, it's okay. And so then you slot them in, but at 47% less, I'm like, there's no way I'm investing in curse efficiency with blasphemy support. That would just be a huge waste of like 40 nodes trying to equal the original state of the skill, when all I would need to do is just go
to cast. Yeah.
Right.
And especially it has to be lower. I can see the value in clearing, but I can't see any value at all if you're talking about bossing. It's very easy to curse a boss.
If you just look at any curse and cut that in half, which is what blasphemy does, it's only valid on the offensive ones, like frostbite, for example, because it does such a high reduction to enemy resistances, right? But if you apply a 50% reduction to enfeeble or temporal chains, you're like,
yeah, it's kind of
what
not there.
On earth, right? So it's kind of in a weird state, but because I didn't notice it, that's what I was aiming for, and I built my whole tree and the idea and skills that I had in my head around having a curse as blasphemy and then a second curse as my damage. Now I'm not going to do that, so now I'm not sure what to do.
So now you wouldn't do it because you'd have to cast 2. Is that the main reason?
I want to see but that's like that. We're talking like 150 mana per cast. So if I'm casting 2, like I need a huge amount of mana regen, which I have no problem with
on each of them if you're casting them. So you'd have to be
right. Yeah. Right. So one would be like my slow, and then one would be my damage. But that was the path that I was going on. But the idea was that I was going to be stacking intelligence for the sake of decaying hex support, which is the chaos drip based on my 60% of my intelligence now. And maybe stacking mana as well for the sake of impending doom. But so I was in the process of going there, and Essence Drain is a decent skill for just doing damage without me having any investment into chaos damage. It does decent damage. It's not bad. So I cast Enfeeble, it does decaying hex, and then eventually impending doom, and I'm casting Essence Drain at the same time.
Essence Drain is only great for single target, though, unless you put something like Pierce on it, which is what I did. I did Contagion in Essence Drain so that the Contagion would build up and the Essence Drain would hit more of the enemies, because I hated the Essence Drain just kept stopping. Hit the first one and then stop. So I put Pierce on it.
The frustrating in PoE too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the frustrating thing with the chaos skills, though, is that there's no good single target. Like Contagion is just about clear.
Yep.
When you don't have any other enemies around, that skill is completely useless.
Yep.
Same with, there was another chaos skill that was also based on kills and enemies. And so in terms of just me meeting a boss, just essence drain. Like there's nothing for the chaos skills where it's like the other skills where you build it up, and then you crush the freeze with a big hit, or then you get that big heavy stun, whatever it is. Like with the chaos skills, there's none of that for single target. And I just feel like, I mean, I know that there's a lot of other combinations out there, but I'm still kind of tired of respecking from all the respecking I did earlier. And it's just funny that every single choice I've made was just like, no, it's not in the game yet. That combo of things is just not there yet. So, but that's where I'm at, and I am progressing. I am able to progress solo, which is nice. It was kind of the opposite where I was being carried before, and now I feel like I'm capable of self-sustaining, which is nice. So even though I lack the damage investment, so my fights are longer, I am quite defensive. I have all of my investment is into either curse efficiency or energy shield. And so I have just about as much. I have about 700 energy shield and 700 life starting Act 3. And
that's actually pretty good.
Yes, well, I'm happy with it. I don't feel, unless I'm getting swarmed, I'm not freaking out.
Grim Feast, man. You need to try it. It's so good.
I'll give it a shot for sure.
Especially if you have ES.
And Decaying Hex is exciting because it just scales off my int. So even now when I'm just selecting 5 intelligence on the tree, I'm kind of like, sweet.
Oh, the hell. The Impending Doom is based on max mana, did you say?
Mana, right.
Not current mana, but max mana?
I believe, yeah, from what I remember, it's maximum mana, what your total would be. So it wouldn't be something I would focus on, but it would just be bonus damage. But it could be if you wanted to go like the MOM route, the Mind Over Matter route. I was going towards Whispers of Doom. I'm almost there. So it doubles the amount of time it takes for a curse to actually activate from the ground, but it lets me have a second curse.
It takes twice as long?
Yeah. So instead of 1 second to activate, it would be 2.
Is that what Whispers of Doom does?
Yeah, that's the consequence of Whispers of Doom now. Whispers of Doom just used to be, here's an extra curse.
Yeah.
So now as a consequence, well, that's what Keystones are supposed to be like. Whispers of Doom in the past was an exception to that. There was no consequence to it, right? So now it makes sense. And it's worth considering. It is. And so I'm just going to double check the curse nodes and see if like how duration impacts that wait time.
Well, there is a support too that decreases the time before it activates. I can't remember what it's a consequence to it is though. I don't remember.
So I'm going to play around with the idea of Impending Doom. If I do have 2 curses, if I, like right now when I cast Enfeeble, and then I cast Enfeeble again on top of it before the first Enfeeble expires, I'm having difficulty telling if Impending Doom is activating when I replace it with the same skill. But so then I'm excited to go see Whispers of Doom to get that, so that now I'll be able to compare. Okay, when I cast Enfeeble on Enfeeble, this is what it looks like. When I cast Temporal Chains on Enfeeble, this is what Impending Doom looks like. So I'm excited to see that difference, and maybe that's something I can play with if mana regen is easy to come by. But Temporal Chains, I think I unlock that at 54, and I'm level 30, so it
can be a little bit.
Yeah, but because of that oversight that I didn't see the curse reduction of blasphemy, I finally am starting to get like the lesser jeweler's orbs or whatever they're called now, and I don't know what to spend it on. I'm so excited. I'm like, yeah, but it was like 2 seconds after I discovered the truth about blasphemy support. Was that me or you?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
How did you? I heard it too.
It's your fault, not mine.
And
you need better GBs.
Hopefully the audio is actually recording properly, because I don't know how I heard that and you heard that.
So anyway, it's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, this stuff's falling together and I'm excited for my idea, but I don't know. Like I have to test stuff out to know where I want to slap that extra bit of crafting now, right? So I'm having a good time in my head. I'm bored with the experience, but like when I go to bed, I'm still checking. Did PoE Planner 2 add the passive tree? No. Okay. Did PoE Mate on mobile add the passive? No. Okay. Can I on Max Roll's website, which is like the only website I know that has the PoE 2 tree right now? I'm like, is that still horrible on mobile? Oh, yes, it is. So PoE's though, like, sure, I wish I could go to bed, postpone bedtime by an hour because I'm lying there on my side, like looking at the passive tree, and I miss that. But what a unique time for Path of Exile players, Path of Exile 1 players playing PoE 2, that you have questions about the game, you have to load the game up to answer those questions. Mm-hmm. How amazing is that? Fun. How different is that? I mean, sure, now it comes with the consequence of like, man, I don't want to go downstairs and turn on the game, but like the best answers that you can get about this game are in the game right now.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful turn of events that is.
Yeah, it is really fun. I'm the same way. At night, I'll be going to bed just trying to think about, like, I'm laying on my side about to fall asleep, and it's always how could I change it? What would I do differently?
Sure.
What could I try and use? So it is fun. I agree with you. I think it's in such a fun state of learning, and I like that because there's so much new. I also, though, don't look online for anything. So if I don't catch it in our Discord, I get to just figure it out in game, or in game in 2121. I ask questions in there all the time because I'm like, what is this? What am I looking at? So it's fun.
Word. Yeah, it is. I'm having a great time.
All right. We got to wrap this up because I got to run to an appointment, but Merry Christmas, everybody.
Joyeux Noel.
That's the word. Episode 272, Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, A.K. Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons will catch you in After Dark. Everybody else will see you after Christmas in 273. If you're looking for more information, you'll find down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We have the best Discord in the community. Thank you to everybody who's a part of it. Patreon, Although We Support the Podcast. You'll find them down below. And if you're so inclined, hit a 5-star button or whatever the thing is for the whatever the most is. I don't know. Thanks for listening.
The 11 out of 10 button. But this one, it goes to 11.